I'm John Morton. I am writer and creator of Ninth Space Calvary. And I'm coming to you today to talk about the morality of Ninth Space Calvary. Oh my God, you said the word. I can see it now. I can see like my agent going insane. She's going, he said that word, morality. How could he do that in a block? No, seriously, here to talk to you about the morality of Ninth Space Calvary, which is really nothing more than saying what are we as humans capable of doing and what are we as humans going to do, which are two totally different perspectives. Reason I'm writing Ninth Space Calvary is to put something on the market that either has never been there or is never really prolifically endorsed. And that is the idea that humans will go out into space, they will colonize space, and there will still be the same problems that humans will face that we have today. That is, there will be governments in space, human governments. They will not be allied. They will not be the one human race coming together the way that we think of it today. And I think part of that, there's a lie in science fiction that when we go from a type 0 to a type 1 society, we have to solve all those problems because being a type 1 society, we'll have new problems and we'll have new enemies, and most of those will be alien. There's no guarantee of that. And in fact, there's no guarantee that there will be aliens out there or that we will face aliens. So there is a probability, but there's not a guarantee. So what will humanity look like as a type 1 society if we don't face aliens? If aliens do not attack us because we are becoming a type 1 society, which is kind of the drama that you see on TV today. We're close to being a type 1 society. We're close to, we'll be close to type 2 at some point. And the aliens don't like it and they attack us. What you don't see is sort of humanity goes out into space and we carry our own problems. There's been some, sci-fi series dealing with what humanity does look like in space. For example, Buck Rogers in the 24th century. There's aliens, but they look human. Star Trek. Humanity has coalesced together, but we're always freaking fighting somebody. So, Ninth Space Calvary takes this dynamic of humans in space and says, well, humans are going to fight humans in space. We're going to be fighting each other. Just like we fought each other in the colonization of the Americas. We were fighting Spain versus England, Spain versus France, England versus Portugal. I mean, all of these European nations, Germany got their hands in there. All of these European nations kind of pretty much created their own governments in the Americas. So why would we as humans not do the same thing going out into space? Whether that's Mars creates one government and Pluto creates one government. What I've done is not so much create a history of who created who, but created governments. You have the People's Republic, you have the Alliance, you have the Republic, different than the People's Republic. You have the democracy, you have the theocracy, and you have the Confederacy. Man, I went through all 6. And you have the Earth Core government, which of course is created by the Earth Core Accords because humanity did not want Earth to be destroyed. And all of these interstellar wars basically were to have control of Earth so they could say, yeah, we have control of where we came from now. You all have to bow down to us. There's also morality into it when it comes to what are the problems of humanity today? We have a dark side, and kind of our whole Argos storyline, Argos, of course, being the kind of special services for Earth. There's always a dark side. There's always a cigar smoking man pulling the strings, or the men in black, in the case of the Crimson Guard, which just been introduced a couple screenplays ago. So you always have the evil of humanity, like kind of creeping in. The other thing is drugs, and I think this was important to me, so much so that when I first started writing Ninth Space Calvary, drugs became the central issue. And of course, with drugs, you have what's called cartels, or Costa Nostra in Italian. Um, this these evil organizations that use drugs, gun running, prostitution, slavery, anything that they can get their hands on to further their own wealth. And in unaligned territories, which would basically be third world nations on Earth, these people really hold the power. And it makes it hard for governments like Canada to deal with a problem like that. Having such a small military force, a small navy, um, really makes it hard to get your head around the idea of a nation like Canada, which is part of my family, certainly part of the world as a whole. I couldn't imagine Canada going to war overtly or covertly with a cartel like a cartel in Colombia. What would that look like? And the whole idea of the Ninth Space Cavalry really comes to a head when we start thinking about how would the Earth core government deal with the cartels in the unaligned planets, which are, of course, are named the Orion planets after the constellation Orion. So it really that to tell that storyline as a whole really settles down the whole of our Ninth Space Cavalry. Then there's human dynamics. There's human morality. What is it like? How do you deal with somebody who's sexually harassing someone else, which we have in our storylines? What is it like when you have someone two people who love each other at one point and grow apart and are now together again? Um, you have the morality of how do you deal with somebody who is self-destructive in drugs and alcohol, which of course is probably in every storyline at this point. I think that may be one of the main moral stories in TV today. And of course we have it in Ninth Space Cavalry too. What is the dynamic of having to keep a secret? And when you can't keep a secret, when the secret gets out, and it's a very bad secret, what is that like? Um, Part of me wanted to just pick up more. I mean, it's like with every play comes another secret, comes another more moral issue. I think one of the things I do as a science fiction writer is to take moral issues and turn them into stories. So when you think of Ninth Space Cavalry, I want you not just to think of all of the like cool stuff. Like we've got, the dart jump, and we've got, excuse me, my mic. We've got the dart jump. We've got we've got kinetic rounds, which are stuff, the real geeky guys think about. Well, what's a kinetic launcher? Um, but there's a morality story to it. There's a human story to it. There's just the overall reaching arc of what makes us as humans human, as opposed to alien. And there's a joke, and I've got to put the joke out there. It's the last part of this blog, and the joke is told best by Admiral Bannon in the second episode. He's asked, "Do you think there's aliens out there? Will you meet aliens in your journey?" And he says, "Humanity has for the longest time fantasized about aliens, but we haven't met them. And if we do meet them, we're prepared." But, which is not true, but, having said that, but we as the humans, we've gone out into space and we've really become our own aliens. We have the People's Republic, which is so far alien from the Earth core government that we can consider them aliens. So really, humanity as a whole is alien when you separate the bonds that make us human. And I think that's kind of the overshooting dynamic of it. That you can watch Star Trek and see all of the great aliens and the great makeup, and really, they're just equal to humans in their problems. And humanity as a whole kind of denies its problems in the same show. You can watch a show like Buck Rogers, which talks about humanity's problems, and the aliens are just kind of cool guys that are hanging out there. Or a show like Falling Skies, where the aliens are the conquering devils, much like the Spaniards conquered America. I think Ninth Space Calvary gives a new dynamic to sci-fi, and it is that we don't need aliens to portray the evils of humans, of humanity. Us humans are quite capable of all kinds of evil acts, all kinds of degraded, destructive things. And it's nice not to have to create a show about aliens, but rather just use ourselves, use us humans. That is what makes Ninth Space Calvary worth you as a producer, you producing. It's what makes Ninth Space Calvary you as an actor want to act in. It's what makes Ninth Space Calvary you as a viewer want to view. We're no longer fighting aliens. We're no longer fighting robots. We're no longer fighting something to represent our evils. We are, in fact, just viewing ourselves. This has been John Morton for the Ninth Space Calvary blog.